Hello, and welcome to the Blood and Popcorn Bordello. I'm one of your hosts, Denise Pantoja, and with me, we have TJ Rotell.
Blah!
Tonight, ooh, so scary. Tonight, we're going to be talking about TJ's pick, Bordello of Blood. TJ, tell us a little bit about why you picked that one.
Hi, Denise. Yeah, well, Bordello Blood is an all time favorite of mine. In fact, I remember watching it in my youth. Part of the Tales from the Crypt like cinema universe that they did with Demon Knight and Ritual, which had Tim Curry in it. But yeah, I was like, Glenn was out this week, and I said, you know what? I feel like we need to watch something that Glenn's not going to be too bummed out missing. So we threw some
Right.
options together. I was feeling vampy. I was feeling, but it was, the fangs were coming out. But Glenn's on a road trip right now, getting back home. So we went with Bordello of Blood, which was something he wasn't super keen to talk about. But here we are. We just got done watching it. I mean, this is like
Here we
the
are.
easily the dozenth or so time I've seen this movie. It's super fun. It's got a I mean it's got like it's not for kids. Let me preface
No,
that with this. It's not at all for kids.
there's lots
Uh,
of boobs.
which you would think with a name like Bordello of Blood, it would be a children's film, but it's not. Um, Yo, what's up, Jay Turo? Yeah, so Bordello of Blood is about a private detective named Rafe Gutman who gets hired to find the younger brother of a woman who works for a evangelical
Televangelist?
televangelist minister. Corey Feldman's in it. Chris Sarandon,
It's a pretty stacked
Dennis
cast,
Miller. The
actually.
cast is bananas. Yeah, and Rafe comes to find in his detectiving duties and his sleuthing ways that our heroine's younger brother, played by Corey Feldman, is in fact lost to a house of ill repute run by Angie Everhart's Lilith, mother of all vampires.
Who is, can I just say, she's like a goddess in
Oh
that gold
man,
dress?
yeah, dude,
Angie
epic, coming in hot.
Everhart. Epic. How you feeling, man? Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for the subs, epic. I hope you're feeling good, dude. How's the leg?
The,
Um,
the Crypt Keeper and I go way back, right?
oh yeah, no, I think you guys dated around the time of what Cleopatra was it? Something around there.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just a super wild and crazy vampire movie. It's very tongue in cheek. Uh, yeah, absolutely. The vampire from
Listen,
Fright Night. Chris Sarandon can do it all.
Chris Sarandon can do anything,
Yeah.
in my humble opinion. I have had a very large crush on that Anne for quite some time.
Well, sorry you're here. You're still on the mend, my dude. But sending all the vibes we got towards your way,
Mm.
so that you might heal up sooner. But yeah, thinking about you, man. Hope you feel better soon. Um, yeah, so you've got all these crazy zany characters thrown into this weird world. It's very much a comedy horror film. Hold on, I'm gonna mute my mic.
I don't. Did you mute
There
it?
we go. I did mute it.
Oh,
Yeah,
but I still heard it.
you still heard it.
All right then.
Yeah,
Um,
so you've got this crazy cast of characters in this weird comedy horror movie that's under the Tales from the Crypt presents banner.
I mean,
I
Whoopi
just thought,
Goldberg makes an appearance.
yeah, like what a surprise! Like I'd forgotten all about the Whoopi cameo. Like what a weird, I assume Dennis
What a delight.
Miller, SNL, maybe. I don't know. I
Oh
don't
my gosh, did
remember.
he come from SNL?
I,
Wow.
I I feel like maybe, but then I could be thinking of Norm
Maybe
Macdonald.
no, you
Like I
might be
really
right.
don't.
I
I
mean,
really don't
that's
remember, to
true.
be honest. I didn't really watch SNL much as a kid. I was more of a comic relief live. That's where
Mm.
Billy Crystal would do that. But yeah. Oh, thank you for the bless yous. Yeah. So D, you obviously dressed for the occasion.
I did.
You're all fanged out. Letting your hair down, letting the fangs down. What did
I
you
have
uh, What did you think of Bordello of Blood?
I have some Angie Everhart inspired 80s hair.
And you also
Um,
have another problem that the film suffered from, which is having trouble talking with fangs in.
I have no trouble talking. I don't know what you're talking. This is incredibly natural. This is how I talk with two extra, four extra teeth in. No, yeah. We'll get to that in a minute, but I have always enjoyed this one. So let's take it back to the OG here, and I feel like we should do a special show on it at some point, but Tales from the Crypt.
Oh yeah, one of
I
the best
mean,
shows ever made.
I I love it. It has my heart. It I mean, I miss the Crypt Keeper so much, not just because we dated, but I mean, I thought they were bringing it back. So, and then I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look
no,
that up.
no idea.
Why don't you talk to me about your love for Tales from the Crypt and tell everybody about your sweet sweet decoration that eventually had to go the way of the trash because of
That was a tough
what is
day.
it called?
Dry rot.
Dry rot in the latex
Yeah,
rot.
yeah. It was a rough day. No, I'm a huge Tales from the Crypt fan. Back in the day when it was on, I think HBO. Used to watch with my folks. I've always been a horror nut ever since I was a kid, so that made sense. But Tales from the Crypt was super influential on me. Like I'm a huge fan of anthologies, and Tales from the Crypt being like that type of series was really cool.
And they're hard to
So
do well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, but when you have this like really charismatic character like the Crypt Keeper, to carry you through the episodes, to set them up, to let you down at the end, like
I
it's
miss
just
his
such a
puns
fun
so
thing.
much.
Yeah, well, and, it just what that just means is that you're using the central figure to tie together an entire universe of monsters and mayhem, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
you get to do that in any way you see fit. And Tales from the Crypt ripped out some of the most amazing short form horror films that have ever been made. Like in the cast that was in those, like crazy A-list Hollywood, like people were dying literally to be on Tales from the
It's
Crypt
one of
back in the
those
day.
shows, yeah, that you can literally like pinpoint a bunch of people's trajectories in their career where
Yeah,
you're like, it's like a Law and Order, like everybody's guessed it on Law and Order at some point, kind
yeah,
of the same for Tales from the Crypt. I
yeah.
love
That's
it.
exactly right. And then they came out with they started doing features, and I don't I think Demon Knight came out before this one. I'm pretty sure it did because they used the same prop
The
in
similar,
this
yeah, I was
one.
gonna
Oh
say
yeah, it
that.
absolutely did because there's a Demon Knight poster in the back of Corey Feldman's room when you get
Oh,
the
that's
OTS from his
right.
sister.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like Demon Knight, which we're gonna do on this show because that'll be one of
Ugh,
my picks too, is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And when this got announced, I was
a
like, oh
young
cool,
Jada.
vampire movie, great. Like this is gonna be a good time, and it was, and it still is. Like it holds up completely and wholly, as a weird comedy fueled Dennis
Yeah.
Miller vehicle,
Yeah.
which you wouldn't
Got
think
a
like
lot
to
of
put,
Dennis Miller quips
yeah, Dennis Miller stuff
asides.
in there,
Yeah.
which is great. Uh, but yeah, like let me tell you, D, a bit about Bordello of Blood. It
Tell
came
me.
out in '96.
Oh,
Uh,
so, I'm sorry. 90s inspired hair. My bad.
yeah, '90s inspired hair, directed by Gilbert Adler, written by A.L. Katz and Gilbert Adler, and Robert Zemeckis actually helped craft the story for this one, which
What?
is really cool. Um, but yeah, it had a decent little budget for the time, about 2.5 million,
Oh,
and
wow.
oh wait,
Wow.
yeah, and it turned a profit. It grossed just about 5.6 million,
No,
critically destroyed, but ultimately gained a fan base throughout the years, earning its cult status.
did these actually get released theatrically or were they released on HBO as like Tales from the Crypt
I
Presents? Do you know?
remember Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood being theatrically released.
Okay.
I don't think Ritual was. If it was limited. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Ooh. Fun note here on Gilbert Adler, our director. He was a producer on Tales from the Crypt. He was a producer on Constantine, on Superman Returns, and the House on Haunted Hill remake in
Oh, very cool. I'm
99.
gonna shut my door real quick because I can hear myself echoing in your microphone.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry, everybody. Oh, he was a producer on 13 Ghosts, too, and Ghost Ship. Wow. Okay, Gilbert Adler, how do I not know your name already? Amazing. Freddy's Nightmares, TJ, did you hear that?
Oh, was he a producer on Freddy's Nightmares?
He was a producer on The Hitchhiker, on Freddy's Nightmares, on Tales from the Crypt. Let's see, House on Haunted Hill. 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship.
Yeah, this guy is a legend, clearly.
How
Um,
have we not Dylan Dog Dead of Night? We saw that, right?
yeah, absolutely did.
Um, I'm just gonna pop open a drink here. Um, I just ate a little while ago. Delivery guy dropped off some packages, and I get so thirsty after eating salty food. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, I do, because you're a vampire now.
And blood is salty.
Yeah,
That's
especially
what I
mine
was.
is high, very high in cholesterol and sodium, I'm sure.
Um, no, I just meant like in general. But okay, yeah. Sorry to spell it out for everybody. I'm a vampire now. So my dinner's blood, but I'm still thirsty and I still always like to have a frosty Dr. Pepper during the show.
There it is. Our
Not
one day
affiliated
sponsor.
yet.
Someday. Um, yeah, but
And
we got Dennis Miller rocking in this thing as Rafe Gutman,
he's great.
Erica
With the name, I love the name.
Alinac as Catherine Verdeau. The one and
the
only Angie Everhart is Lilith.
the the name is such a PI name.
Rafe
Rafe Gutman.
Gutman. Oh yeah, it's very
Rafe
noir.
Gutman.
Like the whole
Perfect.
movie's got this like detective noir vibe to it with old Rafe Gutman. Yeah, then you got also got Corey Feldman. You got Aubrey Morris. One of my all-time favorites, Phil Fondacaro, and William Sadler
Which
as the
one?
mummy in the front,
Oh
which
God,
was
William
great.
Sadler is just a gem. Like, and in case, I mean, I hope you are familiar with William Sadler. William Sadler is
Played
of Die
Death.
Hard 2 fame, but also of Bill and Ted fame. Yes, he played Death in Bill and Ted.
Yeah,
Is it
Bogus Journey, and the third one, he came back to reprise his role as Death, which is great. What a great
correct?
character. But yeah, so this cast is well stacked for the time. It's got a
Yeah.
fun, it's got a fun, lighthearted vibe to it. In regards to the fact that tons of people die in this movie. It's a what I would refer to as a fucking bloodbath. That's
Ooh,
all
I see
real.
what you did
That all
there.
happens. It really does. But Denise, I think we should just dive right into it. Like, let's just
I think
get
you're right.
moving and shaking. I'm eager to talk about the movie. So let's move into the ratings. It's just the two of us
It's hard
tonight.
to
We
okay.
miss you, Glenn. Glenn
We
is
do miss you,
safe
Glenn.
in the Colorado mountains in a compound that he created 16 years ago. No, yeah, we wish Glenn was here with us tonight. Maybe he's in chat. I don't know. Maybe he's at a bar. I also don't know.
I don't think he watches this shit.
Glenn is mysterious. You know what I mean? Like, he's like the knight. He moves in his own way.
He is like the night.
He can go his own way. He can go his own way. But yeah,
Yes,
so
he can.
so what do we got here, Denise? Our script is about an ancient vampire god named Lilith, who gets brought back to life by
Right.
brother Vincent,
Love the name.
Phil Fondacaro, and uh, comes back to modern times. She's alive in the modern world. She's running a brothel,
She's
taking
making
out
it work.
sinners at the
She's a
behest of
boss
the
babe.
righteous.
Hmm.
What do you think about this script? Talk to me, Goose.
Wait a second. Shouldn't you be kicking things off since this was your pick?
Listen. I'm happy to. I gave the script
I
an
want
8.
I want to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, I gave it an 8, strong 8. It's a vampire movie, but they do take some liberties. They do put some good twists on it with the
Hmm.
whole heart thing and having to slice and dice the heart up to kill Lilith.
Right.
I like the idea of a reverend using a creature of the night to smite the wicked.
I love that.
Um,
No, I agree.
that's all really fun. I like the comedy approach to it. I think it was well executed, because comedy horror is a tough thing to do. There's not a
Hmm.
lot of it that exists in the world that in a really prominent way, because it's one of the most difficult genres to balance that horror, because it is scary. Like, there are scary monsters in this movie, and they're being thrown zingers, like full blown head to toe creature effect Angie Everhart getting like guilty husband one liners from Dennis Miller. Like, I really liked the script. I think
Yeah.
it was for what it was. It was well written, and well executed on the writing. So yeah, 8 out of 10. How about you, D?
You know what? I'm gonna agree with that because I thought that the idea was unique, right?
Mm-hmm.
I I like you said, I 100% agree with this being a vehicle to punish the wicked was
Yeah.
great. Um, I really like uh, how we were dropped into it. It was just very simple, very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Boys wanting to go to a whorehouse, and then the sister searching for them.
That
I
was
think it
it.
was a lot of fun,
Tale
and
as
there
old
were
as
a
time.
lot of yeah, and there were a lot of funny lines. I think that it made me laugh a lot, so I think that gives it an extra bump on the script
Mm-hmm.
um, for me because I like to laugh.
Yeah, man. Good comedy is hard to do. Good horror is also hard to do. Good comedy horror is damn hard to do.
Yes.
Especially with a script this funny, because the script is funny. Like they
Uh
don't
huh.
just rely on sight gags and like slapstick humor. Like the dialogue is very funny, and the way that they handle it's super funny.
And if you're talking like, oh God, like the 90s was like, 25 years ago, gross. Um, it holds up.
Yeah, it most certainly does. Most
So
certainly does.
yeah, yeah, eight for me, buddy.
Nice, solid
I'm
eight.
sorry, I'm trying to put my bracelet on, and this is really hard to do one-handed. I should have done it earlier, and I forgot it, but it's very important because it matches my earrings. Carry on.
Got it. Yeah, we'll go right into acting. Speaking of diva
Speaking of
behavior,
wardrobe,
uh, yeah. So the acting in this is pretty solid. Um, it's I think for the most part, everyone does what they're there to do. Uh, it's is it going to win an Oscar? Highly unlikely.
I
That it
mean,
that it
it
that it
should have.
comes home with any awards, but that's not for me to decide. I'm not the Hollywood Foreign Press. I'm not the Academy. I'm not those guys. So yeah, I gave it a
Yes.
7 because most of
What?
the acting in this movie is really bad. Uh, the only good acting I called out that I thought was genuine good acting is Dennis Miller. I think he nails it because he's Dennis Miller the whole time, and that's hard to fuck up when you're Dennis Miller.
Dennis
Chris,
Miller. Dennis Miller's really well.
yeah, Chris Sarandon I think is exceptional. As everything he does is great, and then Phil Fondacaro, who played Brother Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, everything that dude touches is awesome too. Like he's just got such a rich career. Um, and yeah, that's why, like, because I can only pick out three actors in this movie. Like I guess the dude that played the creepy
Undertaker dude.
yeah, Aubrey Morris. Like he was also really good. William Sadler could, like, the people who are supposed to be good in this movie are exactly as good as you want them to be, but everyone else is really lacking. So I gave it a 7. I didn't. It's average. It's an average horror movie acting for me.
Okay. I will disagree with you slightly there, and I will say it was above average because I think it was I think it was pretty great overall. Um, yes, there were some overly dramatic moments, especially with Corey Feldman at the beginning.
Oh man,
Um,
Corey Feldman, gotta
but
love the
it's
guy.
like, I mean, yes, you can blame the actor there a little bit. Was it also the script? I mean, there's always like a fine line between the two.
Sure, sure,
Being able to because one can pull the other in in a bad
absolutely,
direction.
100%.
Um, but I think it actually played well into what the movie was trying to do and how it was trying to present itself. So I'll go with a 7.5. Like I said, a little overly dramatic, but anything that has Chris Sarandon in it, I buy him as anything he does.
Yeah,
And
he's just
I
a great
love
actor.
that man.
They were very
He's
lucky to have him.
he is fabulous. Angie Everhart, I think she did a great job actually. I think
I
she had really great deliveries of those lines. She didn't seem like a model trying to act. She just happened to be a model and she was acting in this film. So
Yeah,
kudos to you,
that's about where we
Angie.
hard disagree. Is I
Really, you
think
thought
I
she was
think
terrible?
Angie Everhart had some excellent moments in the film, but overall the performance was lacking. That's my 2 cents on it. But I'm a bit
Yeah, I won't
harsher of a
have
critic when it
words.
comes to that kind of stuff. But I think she utterly nails lines like "How am I doing, lover?"
Yeah.
Like when she's down the floor, like she's got moments where she's perfection, but the rest of it for me was a bit on the rough side. But what are you gonna do? You know, it's tough. And hey, to be honest, you know, we're gonna go into special effects next, and
Yes.
the reason behind her performance may in fact be an issue I had with the special effects in this movie, which were the oversized fangs. They make
And
it
I think the
extremely
ADR
hard.
too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though, right? You need the ADR because the performance can't exist with those fangs in her mouth. So
Right.
she's trying her best to be like, "I'm gonna get you guys." You when you've got massive teeth in your mouth, you can't close your mouth.
Even
Like,
these that aren't very big, it's just obviously it is a new feeling
yeah,
in your mouth, and you have learned your entire life to shape words
yeah,
with what you have already. So this actually takes a lot of practice.
yeah,
Um and I think that, like, I guess we're getting there. So I'll hold my comments. You carry on. You go on to the next one.
yeah.
Go on to
So
special effects.
yeah, so we're there. We're on special effects, and I gave it an 8.5. The vampire bites, like the puncture bites, were terrible. They were like applications just glued on and stuck on. They weren't very good. And but like the practical effects in this movie beyond those vampire bites were exceptional. Like
Mm-hmm.
they brought the score to the 8.5 that I gave it, because the visual effects are atrocious. Like the digital effects are really, really bad in this movie, except for one where the girl's body has been cut in half and she's wandering around. There's fire shooting out of it. That's like
Mm-hmm.
the only good visual effect that I like, because the fire and everything else is really, really bad. But
Yeah.
the practical effects are absolutely stunning. Like Lilith's makeup effects are amazing. But I had to take, it would have been a 9, but I took a whole half a point off, because if you're a special effects artist and you're creating the director's vision, you're creating these monsters, your actors still need to be able to perform.
Mm-hmm.
Making those teeth that big, and or if they were that ill fitting, like I don't know what the problem was overall, but
Right.
having to ADR just about every line of audio from every vampire with teeth in the entire movie is fucking rough.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another tough thing to do, because it doesn't sound natural, because as you can hear in Denise's voices, there are subtle differences. Even though she's very good at talking with those fangs in, there are still her s's and her t's, and everything that normally shapes in her mouth is off,
Yeah.
and it will be off until she retrains the muscles in her jaw and her tongue to fix that. When you're
Right.
like, "Put your teeth in, Angie," and she's like, "Okay, let's go, God," like that's what it's like. Like I have a crossbite where when I wear fangs on my top and bottom, I look like a fucking saber tooth. Like I have fucking tusks and shit sticking all over the place, because my crossbite twists and torques my teeth and my fangs. Denise, your fangs look lovely. I would give your
Thanks.
fangs 10 out of 10.
Oh, well, thank you.
What did you think of the special effects in this movie, D?
I'm going to agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that the visual effects were really rough. Again, I mean, it was, what was it, 95, you said?
Yeah, made in 95, released 96.
Listen, it could have been a product of its time, but they were pretty rough. They could have been good for the time. I don't know for sure. Practical effects were pretty great. I mean, I put not too bad, but yeah, they were pretty great. I loved how they translated, like, the tongue. Oh god, the tongue.
It's rough.
Tongue's so
It's rough
terrible.
to
But
watch.
the way that they, when Corey Feldman's friend gets killed, like the way that they made whatever application over, like, I don't know if it was over his actual body or not, or if it was just by itself because it was such a close-up shot.
Yeah.
The way that you could see the tongue going down his throat and through his chest and then out his chest, I thought was done beautifully.
Yeah.
I think that in general, I'm not, like, the vampire, the end result, the final vampire look is gross. I mean, it's awful wet. It's a
Yeah.
very wet sheen.
Gets
I've
hot
never
in there.
personally liked that look, but it is incredibly Tales from the Crypt. Like, they had
Mm-hmm.
that type of look for
Yeah.
their monsters, because I'm pretty sure they did something similar for Demon Knight, right? Like, that was
Yeah,
just
it's
sort
always
of,
very slick and wet and mucusy
yeah, and
and
like demony, yeah.
mm,
So but doing it like it wasn't pretty, but it was done well.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't love at the end after he's shot through her chest. That chest piece was a little rough, but overall, I think it was a pretty great job. I agree with you on the bites. I didn't write that down, but I agree with you there. I thought the dummy corpses were okay. They weren't bad.
Uh,
The face on the one the one woman that he was working on and talking to, that one was a little rough, but not bad. Not bad at all. Uh, I'm gonna bring. I think I've put fog into production design before, but I'm gonna talk about it in true effects because that is exactly what it's supposed to be. You gotta love the '90s fog for no reason.
oh yeah.
Like it's really just it's like letting you know it's a bad place, but
Yeah.
it's just coming out of nowhere from the side of the house when Dennis Miller first gets there. I mean, you gotta love fog for no reason. It is 100% setting the story and the atmosphere, but it just makes me laugh every time.
Yeah,
So yeah, eight and a half.
I would have to disagree. I love the chess piece at the end because her body's
Yeah.
been so mangled from having like the battle axe. Because if you notice, like when you before she gets her heart cut in four,
Mm-hmm.
her shoulder isn't properly reconnected. Because when he cleaves into her and she pulls herself back together, it connects off. So she's got kind of this weird
No,
like
that's cool.
need to fix herself, and then when all the flesh and everything burns and rips away, almost like an exit because it hits her in the back and blows out the front like an exit
Mm-hmm.
wound. So that's why it's like, and it's all exploded out. I thought I love that chest piece personally.
Yeah,
I thought
it
it was
it
really cool.
looked too much like a chest piece to me, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that.
Oh, yo, what's up,
Next.
Zis?
Hi.
Ill
Yes,
House of
super
Ill Repute.
cheesy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, speaking of the Vampire Den, up next we're going to talk about production design, which I was a big fan of. I gave an 8.5. I think between the thing about this movie is there's so many cool and unique locations that design got to really swing at the fences for. Like the Vampire Den, the Bordello itself, like top and bottom, like morgue
Mm-hmm.
and club were both amazing. Like all the stone, like the marble work in the club is really cool. Gutman's office is a
Oh,
veritable
I love
potpourri
it. Sorry.
of set deck and production design, and the Reverend Studio as well. Just all really unique, specific locations that I think production design did a great job with.
Mm-hmm.
So 8.5 for me on that one.
You know what? I will 100% go with that. I agree wholeheartedly. It was great. 8.5 from me. For all of those same reasons, I loved that he was. I mean, granted, listen, obviously, cool things are cool now and everything's through the roof. But in the '90s, yeah, a decrepit movie theater
Brad.
that's been shut down, like that
Yeah.
dude probably rented that for like 200 bucks.
Yeah. If
200
I ever
bucks a
started a
month.
private detective agency, I'm going to put it in a rundown old theater.
I loved everything about it. It was a little cheesy how they painted the outside of the house to make it look more run down, the house slash mortuary,
Mm-hmm.
but I liked it. Because it looked too purposeful. If does that make sense?
Sure.
Like where they were like, we're trying to make this look old and run down, but it wasn't. It was just it was. I could see through the I could see through the try a little bit, but
Sure.
it didn't bother me. I liked it. Um, I love I love the design of how you get down to the bordello.
Yes. Very, very cool.
Fabulous. That was a good time. And yeah,
Fun,
you're right. Like,
unexpected mechanic.
mm-hmm. It was 100% indicative of the characters who inhabited the places, and it helped you really get um, into the entire view of who you were looking at. Like the interactions between the characters they all benefited greatly from their settings.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have a lot of time. The movie's an hour and 26 minutes and change. You don't have a lot of time to get to know these people. Like a fantastic way to fast forward through who this person is by where do they live, what do they do, and
Mm-hmm.
what do they wear, and
Oh,
that's why we're gonna slide right into wardrobe next. which I gave an 8 too. All the regular people were fine. Like the lead was the lead our lead female was fine. It made sense for her being like the minister's producer. That all
Hmm.
worked. But where I think the wardrobe really sung was in all of Lilith's wardrobe was amazing from top to bottom. And everything that Chris Sarandon got to do was really fun. I think both of those characters had really fun wardrobe stuff going on. Aubrey's wardrobe as well for the mortuary guy was like a fun
Oh,
cycle of smoking jackets and lab coats and things, which
spot
was
on. Yeah.
which was really cool. So yeah, I gave it an 8. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts, D.
See, I'm going to go a 9 with that. I'm going to go greater than that 8 because the main characters were so perfect without being like caricatures of
Mm-hmm.
themselves. I thought Corey Feldman, I thought his wardrobe was fantastic and it was perfect. And you were like, yep, this is the bratty,
Got him.
shitty little snot nosed brother who likes to get into trouble for no reason and antagonize his very religious sister.
Mm.
100%. His friends, whatever, that's fine. The Bordello, there wasn't much in the way of wardrobe there,
Yeah.
but it was great. It was exactly what you might imagine a board. Listen, if you've ever seen what was that show they did, the Bunny Ranch show on
Oh, I don't
on
remember.
HBO. It's quite possibly fairly accurate. I don't know. I've never been to one,
But I do
but
like though that it's all very thematic. Like it's very
yeah.
Grecian and
Mm-hmm.
like silks and rings and things of that nature. Like it's not like
Very flowy
yeah, like
fabrics.
it's very designed. Like it's very obvious like that this is, the person running this has a specific vibe that they're going for. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, in regards to all the marble that they use and just the overall aesthetic of the place is very like opulent and excessive.
Yeah,
So then to
Grecian
like
is a perfect word for that.
yeah, to dial back all that wardrobe and just keep it to like simple color palettes of simple silks and things, I think
Mm-hmm.
was really well done.
I'm gonna say again, Angie Everhart in that gold dress was
Fire.
absolute perfection. You have
Yeah.
never seen an individual look so perfect in an outfit. My God. And it really gave you an idea of like this first vampire. She is the mother of all vampires. I do love the part where she's like, she's there in this dress and she's so amazing. And then she like picks her teeth because she's just eaten.
Yeah.
So great. But Dennis Miller's wardrobe was perfect. It was spot on. You were right. The Preacher's producer. What was her name again?
I always fear I feel terrible.
Aubrey. Is
Catherine
that what you said?
Verdell,
It,
Erica, Ellen, Eleniak, Eleniak,
Eleniak,
Eleniak, Erica Eleniak, Catherine Verdot, Ms. Verdot,
Ms. Bordeaux.
as
I mean,
as
her.
Rafe would call her.
She had very conservative heels, nothing too high. Chris Sarandon's outfits were perfect. I mean, the very
Yeah.
flashy ties, very well tailored suits, because he is obviously making money off of this entire, you know, mission, this whole televangelist deal. Um, and like you said, Aubrey Morris's outfits, the smoking jacket. I mean, yes,
Yeah, it's
a
good
hundred
stuff.
percent perfect. Yeah, so a 9 for me. I was a huge fan of what the wardrobe told me about each character.
Well, speaking of nines, that's what I gave our next category, which is music.
Oh,
Because I, for one, own the CD for this movie. I bought the soundtrack when it came out because it was so good. There's a version of Ballroom Blitz in this movie that hits in the last big battle scene with the good Reverend and Rafe going toe to toe with the Vampire Den
nice.
that I feel is way better than the Wayne's World version personally.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my hot take on it. Don't be mad at me. Um, but yeah, the whole
No one's
soundtrack's great. Like I would put when I was making movies as a kid, like with like a VHS recorder or like an old handy cam or something like, with tape. Um, every movie I made after this movie came out had that. I think it's Anthrax at the front. That like I see two eagles and it's just so heavy. I used that in so many little shorts that I made when I was a kid because it just had such a dope sound to it. You just felt like, yeah, this is gonna be badass. And so I really love that song, and I love the whole soundtrack. So I gave it a 9 because it's not the perfect soundtrack, but it's damn good. What about you, D?
I agree. I agree. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna go with a 9 as well. I don't have the CD, but yeah, everything was great for me.
Yeah. Um, so what wasn't so great, unfortunately, in this movie
Oof.
was the sound design, which I
Yeah.
gave a 6.52 because, and listen, I don't fault the mixer for this. Like, this is a tough one to fucking do. It's hard to make someone sound like they do when they have giant fangs in their mouth. That's always not going to match up quite right because the point of redoing it is to make the dialogue more clear, but
Right.
in making it more clear it doesn't exactly shape up with the shape of their mouths, and the sound that comes out of it is a little too clean from what you'd expect, and
Right.
that really made really hurt the overall score for sound design, and special effects has to take some of that credit as
Yeah.
well.
I went with a 6 because of the same reasons. However, I think that it's not only that it was too clean, it didn't always match up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm pretty sure she wasn't saying what she said, which happens. Sometimes you have to do it and you can't go back and you can't reshoot it. But what I think one of the things was, and I want to talk about fangs in a second. If you are unfamiliar with filmmaking, one of the major things when you were doing something like ADR, which is TJ, what does that stand for?
I don't remember.
Oh God, I'll look
Something
it up.
like after dialogue recording or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. So, and this
It's
is not voiceover
It's
because
Friday night. I'm blood and popcorn. I don't remember what ADR stands for.
um, what is ADR in entertainment? Automated dialogue replacement.
There you go.
So, real quick, there's a difference between voiceover and ADR. ADR is correcting something and trying to match what was said in filming, and you have to. It's like it's very precise, um, and and some actors can't do it. Some actors can't match their own pace, their own inflection. So that's why sometimes it goes off. And then sometimes it's the placement. Voiceover is hearing somebody's voice over action, over text, over something else. It is not connected to what is happening on the screen, right?
Unless it's a cartoon and you're,
Unless it's a cartoon.
but then they're most times animating to the voice and not the other way
Yes,
around.
I am speaking in real IRL film shooting.
Yeah.
Um,
ADR is a tough thing to do. I like the first gig I had, like the first one of the first acting gigs I had when I hit LA was an ADR gig on a short film that was like um like a troubled youth, kind of like street gangs and drug dealing. And I had to come in, and I wasn't in the movie, but I got hired to do ADR because none of the audio was usable from the fight. They had to loop the whole scene had to be redone, and it had 4 different actors in it, and I did all of them, and they were all fighting each other. So somewhere in existence, there's a fight scene where I'm voicing all 4 fighters and making reactions and yelling and grunting and falling. And it is fucking hard. Like you're in
it's
a studio,
really hard.
you're in a booth with a movie on a big ass movie screen in front of you so you can try to see every detail and word being formed by their mouths, and you're just like it's just watch and like start to talk along with them, add
Mm.
your vocal inflection, like add the performance, and it's like lip syncing a song. Like that's the extent of what it is, except you don't have the rest of the components of like music and rhythm to feel where those words should come from. You're literally
Right.
just watching the picture and making the puppet talk. It's wild.
TJ, what is, I'm pretty sure there's a different term for this and I don't know it, but for like off camera dialogue or when you're in a crowd, things like that. Do you know what the term for that is? I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up and we'll see if we can figure it out. I'm gonna get you
Yeah, I
one.
mean like getting like wild lines like off of
Well, like say like what we did. Were you there when we did that Beresford story with Nancy?
mm,
So I was part of a group of reporters, right? So there were a bunch of people in the scene, and then we just went in and like a bunch of people just did. Is that also ADR?
no, no, I don't
It's a
think
different
so.
thing, right?
Yeah, ADR is pretty specific as a
Okay, so
task.
just so we all know it's different, I'll try and figure out what it is. I'll talk to one of my sound friends. But so my point was when you were doing ADR, if you do this, if you ever try to make something on your own, one of the absolute most important things is to get room tone because there are certain sounds that surround you wherever you're shooting. It's how uh, this this all of the sounds fill the air. And if you don't have that as your foundation, then it sounds like it's out of nowhere. You
Super
need,
unnatural.
yeah, you need, if it's like outside, maybe it's like birds chirping or frogs, croaking. I was like, what do frogs do? Frogging? Anyway,
Yeah, frog's
so
frog. Frog's gonna frog. That's as tale as old as time.
to me, that felt like one of the problems as well with Angie. It felt like a disembodied kind of voice, like it was maybe missing room tone as well.
Well, that's the tough thing about it, right? You're recording in a studio environment. Like when you go and get like wild lines, like after a scene, like yeah, let's just record it like here in the room. You're getting it in the same environment, and it's going to sound a lot more natural. Anytime you're going to put an actor in a booth and have them speak in a silent room with no echo and no sound bouncing around the room, that's perfect audio. You have to do so much work to build that into the world, and they just couldn't do it.
And they should be able to like add that layer of room tone in because even in a room on a
I mean, I'm
stage,
gonna guess that a $2.5 million movie with the Tales from the Crypt moniker probably got room tone. I think
maybe.
this has far more to do with the fact that you're in a studio environment without fangs trying to fix a problem that was created by fangs.
Sure.
Like it's never gonna sound the same because your mouth isn't gonna make the same shapes when you have two gigantic candy corns hanging out of your mouth.
Agree to disagree. No, I'm just kidding. So let's talk about things. It's always been a bit of an issue. They did pretty good in The Lost Boys, if I
Mm-hmm.
recall, right? It's always an issue when you have things in. But then True Blood comes along and it's not as much of an issue. And why? Because they also included their fangs in post. They did not always have their fangs in.
Mm-hmm.
They only had them in certain spots. So when there were probably bigger speeches, bigger lines to deliver, they put them in the post process. I believe.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that they used both of them.
well, they definitely had digital fangs for after they would retract. Um,
Right.
but the thing too about True Blood is you've got, instead of having like what 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks to make a feature, you've got 7 years of getting comfortable in your fangs. Like those
True.
fangs are not. I'm sure with the level of special effects work done in this movie that those fangs were all custom molded and created for them because they all look
Oh yeah.
phenomenal. I think they're all a little too oversized, personally,
They
but
were really long.
yeah, they're super long, but they fit well and they looked like they belonged, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with somebody like True Blood, you've got a lot less pronounced. Like they're much more like small fangs, not like Nosferatu
Mm-hmm.
fangs. But
Like more like DJ.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And but
There
the
you go.
thing you have to do when you have fangs is you have to mold them like you would at a dentist office, like where they put the
Mm-hmm.
blue shit in your mouth and you got to put that thing in there and bite
Yeah,
down. And it
these
feels like
fit
it's
to
gonna
my teeth.
rip out every filling you've ever had. When you pull that out and then they make a mold and then they get in there. And I know that the guy that made my fangs, this dude by the name of Vincent Psychic of Psychic Fangs, uh, I wish at the time I had realized I was so excited to have them that I didn't think through the struggle of using them because having a crossbite, my fangs don't sit properly. I can never close my teeth like Denise can. They're always like this.
So you need to have them pitched out a little bit.
And that's what Vincent tried to tell me to do. But the way he said it was like, I like a snake, I can pitch them out. And I was thinking, oh, I don't want snake fangs. But what he was
Oh
saying was, I'm going to
no.
shave the back off of this one so that you can close your teeth and not have
Yeah.
pain in your jaw every time you wear them. And someday I'll have Vincent fix those for me. I don't even know if he does it anymore, but he was like, yeah, man, just send them back. Uh, but yeah, that's a super important thing to do. But when you've got
Hmm.
fangs that long, if Angie Everhart were to ever close her teeth, she would put those fangs through the bottom of her lip. They're
Yeah,
that
probably.
long.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
these are even
how are
just
you gonna do it?
barely touching the top of the bottom of my lip.
Yeah, those were crazy, crazy long.
Hmm.
But yeah, so where sound design was a bit of a letdown because of some bad ADR, camera lighting for me was a pretty average win. I gave it a 7.5. I didn't have any real problems with it. I thought the camera work was far better than the lighting was. I thought they had some really fun shots that they pulled off in that movie. But
Hmm.
otherwise, average, well done, no complaints, 7.5, nothing to write home about, but I'm not complaining about any of it either.
I'm gonna go with 8. Um, I agree. It was really good. There were a couple shots that stuck out for me, and I've forgotten the one. I should have written it down. But the other one was at the beginning when we're looking at Corey Feldman put like the hole puncher, put his tongue in the hole puncher.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really cool shot for me. With I think he blew smoke and then did that.
Yeah,
I thought that was fun. So I gave it an 8.
I love it. I love that it got an 8. That's a solid score.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
well, and as with all good camera and lighting eventually finds its way into post. So I gave editing on this an 8 out of 10. It was solid. I didn't notice anything really wrong or bothersome about it. So a little over average for me because I didn't see anything that made me go eh. But yeah, solid 8 on the editing.
I will agree with you on that. I will go with an 8 as well because, yeah, nothing really stuck out to me, but I do remember not thinking that I was like bored because they were sticking on shots too long or anything like that. I think they did a really good job. So 8 for Moa.
Yeah, I agree. And then we find ourselves here at the end of our review,
Oh
going
my
very
gosh.
quickly with only two people.
I know.
Which is fine, but that's okay because now we've got a lot of time that we can sit here and talk about our favorite part of this process, which is the enjoyability factor.
Hmm.
For me, I gave it a 10. 10, fucking 10. If Fastoni and I was here,
Damn.
uh, because I just think it's a really fun movie. Like it's
Hmm.
memorable. It sticks with you. You can watch it multiple times. I think like the
Yep.
banter and the quips were really good and fun throughout the whole thing. The Crypt Keeper stuff with the mummy was really fun and lighthearted and still kind of creepy, but really good. It very much embodies and has the heart and the soul and the bones of an episode of Tales from the Crypt, just a jumbo sized episode with, a bit more money to throw behind it, which I think was important. If you're going to slap a Tales from the Crypt moniker on it, it's got to respect where it comes from. And I think it does that
Yep.
with great love here. Soundtrack is fucking killer.
Ow.
Um, and just, good acting, good script, super good practical effects, super fun movie all around. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Huge, huge fan of this movie and the others in its trilogy. What about you, D? How much did you enjoy Bordello of Blood?
I also, um, I gave it a 10. Um, we have rewatched this many times and would happily do it again. It was a good time. It was interesting and funny and fun. It's sometimes the horror movies are very dark, and this one you're able to watch with the family. No, I'm just kidding. There's a lot of
Wake
nudity in
up the
this.
kids and tell them to come on out and see a family friendly horror film.
Just cover their eyes for all the TNA.
A lot of it. A
A
lot of
lot of
T.
it.
A lot of
I,
A.
yeah, even with that, you know what I mean? Like this is a hard R, right?
Oh yeah.
It's
This
still
might this
it's
might even creep into the range of NC-17 with the amount of nudity in this movie.
maybe. I don't know. I just I enjoy it. I've rewatched it so many times and will do in the future. Like overall, the entire package was very enjoyable.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
I can't. I highly recommend giving it a watch. It's a fun one. I mean, unless you aren't a big fan of nudity, then
Yeah,
maybe fast
if you have
forward.
a weak stomach for nudity, violence, gore,
There is a lot
religious
of gore.
innuendo,
Yeah.
um, vampirism, this is not the film for you. If you enjoy those things, this is very much the film for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Overall, the bucket's pretty darn full. This is another pretty high ranking movie for
Oh
me. Is
yeah.
a
What?
81 out of 100.
Oh,
Bucket is just about full there.
look at you.
Big fan of this movie. Big fan of the cast and of the weird story. I was reading that. Uh, who was it? Was it? What did I say? Zemeckis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this was like the two cats who did the story. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. I was reading that this was an idea that they'd come up with together in the 70s.
Yeah.
That they just sat
That
on.
makes
It's like, this
sense.
is the movie. Like, we're gonna exploit the genre, and this is going to be a movie that we're gonna break into the film industry with. And then
Uh,
obviously
and then after the fact, they were like,
a couple
yeah,
decades later, we got to see it, and
a
I'm
hundred
so
percent.
glad we did. So yeah, 81% popcorn for
My
me.
bucket is a little more full than yours. Did I say that already? Oh
I
my
don't
God, did I
know.
go back in
Maybe
time? Did I say that? It's
maybe you
82.5. I don't know if I
quantum
said that.
leaped.
Goodness gracious. Anywho, yeah, it's a good time. And can we take this time to go back and talk about Tales from the Crypt real quick?
We can take anything. We can do anything you want, Denise. It's Friday night. It's blood and popcorn.
We're
We
the
got the
bosses.
29ers in chat. This is why we have this channel. We'll do whatever we damn well please.
That's true. So apparently, and we were a little worried about it because this was actually supposed to be an M. Night Shyamalan reboot.
Wait, what?
Um, I had forgotten that. No, we knew this,
Oh,
and we
I'm
were
sorry. I
like,
thought you meant
ugh.
Bordello Blood. I was like, what? M Night Shyamalan's remaking Bordello Blood like that?
No,
I'm
the
both nervous and excited. Like, what does that
Tales
look
from the
like?
Crypt. It was going to be an M. Night Shyamalan reboot, but apparently, and this is very upsetting to me. So it was supposed to come out in 2017, and I can't believe we forgot about it. So it never materialized. It's been shelved because there is a bit of an issue in the rights between the Crypt Keeper and the rights of the comic because he was not in the comic originally.
Mm,
Ooh, he was voiced by John Kassir. Where is John Kassir today? We miss you.
yeah.
Um,
And no worries, Astonia Knight, man. Happy birthday week to our boy Astonia Knight.
Happy birthday week! You pie partied a bit. Hell yeah. Um, I love that. So let's see. God, 25 years ago. So the first attempt at rebooting it actually came in 2011. Oh, wow, with producer Gilbert Adler at the helm. It was pitched around, but never went anywhere with the fact that it was not planned to include the Crypt Keeper. So you have to include the Crypt Keeper. There is no way that it would ever be accepted, at least by the people who knew it, without the Crypt Keeper. And I think it loses so much if you don't have the Crypt Keeper in there.
Absolutely, it's not Tales from the Crypt. Like, and I get it. I believe the Crypt Keeper, like you said, was not part of the comic where that inspired
Mm-hmm.
this show. But the Crypt Keeper became the iconic image of, like you were saying earlier. I used to have a full sized Crypt Keeper mounted above my bed that hung out
Big.
over my bed. He was life sized,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how iconic this character is and was. Like, the like, this dude was haunting. Like, the cackle of the Crypt Keeper haunted my dreams.
Lower your microphones, everybody, or your headphones.
Oh
Three,
God.
2, 1.
Oh yeah, and you got the head bob and everything. Like,
It
you
wasn't,
got that
listen,
dialed in.
I haven't done that in years. So it was my first try.
Yeah, no, this has got it though, man. It's not Tales from the Crypt unless you have the Crypt Keeper. It's just another anthology series borrowing the name from a show that taught the genre how to do it.
Oh
Um,
God, yeah. Because you know
yeah,
what? Like honestly, some like Tales from the Crypt was good.
yeah.
It was
It's
well
an award winning
done.
show. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking phenomenal
I mean, fucking
on
HBO
every
though. Like
front.
HBO
No surprise.
has always been like not everything they've done, but HBO is gold. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
since the 80s, probably. They started those kinds of shows for these pay channels. Um,
Do you have a favorite episode that you recall, D? Like I have a couple that
man,
I remember that I really liked, but I don't know the titles or the seasons, but I could like probably talk about what they were about.
I mean the Santa one, there's like a crazed Santa,
Mm-hmm.
and then no, I think it's that it's supposed to be like a surprise party or something, and then it has to do with the crazy Santa, or it might be separate. I can't remember. But it's got everybody's mom from the 80s. Oh, why can't I remember her name? Everything is she is wonderful and we love her. Let me look up her name. The mom from the Goonies, and I'm so
Oh,
embarrassed that I can't remember her name right now.
gotcha.
Um, we lost her a few years ago. Where are you, mom? Mary Ellen Trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And, and she was in Die Hard, author of uh what is it? Damn it. Damn it. I'm gonna remember it in a second. There was this line I was about to say that she says on the air. Author of Hostage shit. What is it?
We're never gonna remember, but we should tell the people to look it up someday.
Look it up. Look up the line. Or watch Die Hard, see it.
Yeah,
She's talking about the book.
go watch Die Hard. Yeah, there's three episodes that stand out to me um, that I really really liked. The first one that I'll always remember that I was a big fan of was The Secret, which was in 1990. It had Larry Drake in it, and it was about a family of vampires that had adopted a little boy that they'd planned to eat. And they basically they've got this butler named Tobias who befriends this little boy and tries to save him when the parents go to eat the little boy one night. But it turns out he's got a secret of his own.
What?
He's a fucking werewolf, and he
What?
kicks the shit out of them. Like
I think I
murks these fucking vampires because
vaguely
they
remember that.
ultimately get Toby. They get him. They take him out because he tries to save little boy. So there's that one. There is the episode with, I want to say it was, what's his name, Harry Anderson. Yeah, Harry Anderson. That episode was Corman's Calamity. He's a comic book artist, and everything he's
Okay.
drawing starts to come to life and
Mm-hmm.
murder people in the real world. And he ends up drawing his wife, and she's like a hideous monster, and she gets eaten by her. It's really really funny. And then the last one, um, I don't remember which one it was. Okay, Don Rickles is in it. Yeah, that's what it is. That one is called The Ventriloquist's Dummy, and it's Don Rickles as a ventriloquist, and his work is like fucking crazy unmatched. But you come to find out that he's got like a twin brother for a hand,
Yeah.
and that's why like it's actually his twin. It's super graphic and super terrifying. But those
I
are
have it.
three that really stick out to me.
And All Through the House. And All
Mm.
Through the House is the one with Mary Ellen Trainer. That's a fun one.
And
I
that's the is that the Christmas one? Yeah,
That's
that's
the
also
Christmas one.
Larry Drake who plays Santa Claus in that plays Tobias in The Secret.
Oh, great. And then there's another one, and I can't. You know what? I'll figure it out. And we'll talk about it later. I feel like we should do should we do an entire other show based on Tales from the Crypt, because there are a lot of episodes.
I'll tell you right now, I would do a watch along series for Tales from the Crypt
Ooh,
just to have a reason to watch it over and over again. Um, but
is it
yeah,
on
no,
Amazon
like
Prime?
it's I don't know if it's anywhere. Like we have it on
I
DVD, but I don't know if it's on TV. How HBO does HBO not have that on HBO Max? That seems
Ooh,
bananas.
I haven't seen that.
Because if that's on HBO Max, that's amazing. But I don't feel like it is.
I haven't seen it. No. Um, you know what? Tales from the Crypt season 1 is on Prime Video, which you know what? Maybe it's because it's currently like maybe they gave them the rights, because I feel like HBO is going to be pulling all those rights from Prime and Netflix and everybody except for maybe Purchase. So maybe they're stuck in a contract right now.
Yeah, yeah. There's a rights issue going on, and that's why
Yeah,
it's not on HBO Max. Boy, that's a
but
shame because that's such a iconic series for HBO. That's
um,
crazy.
well, it's on Prime. But I would love more than anything for it to come back, like
See, I don't know if I
like it
do.
used to be. like it
Yeah,
used to
like it
be.
used to be. Yeah, if you got like OG Crypt
Yeah.
Keeper voice and did it that way, then I'd be fine with it. But it's just one of those things that's like it's gonna be flashy and high gloss and like
Yeah.
have like Jake Paul, and it's like
Oh
that's
God,
gonna
what?
like influencers will be the stars and that's how it'll
Ugh.
go. And I don't need that in my life.
No,
Like
no. That would
Tales from
make
the
me
Crypt
angry.
is pretty close to perfection for me. So I don't know if I need
I
anyone to
know.
fuck with it.
I just miss
We'll
it,
just
you
we'll
know?
just watch the series again, D. That'll
I
cure what
know.
ails you.
I know. It
But
was
like
just
there's
so
there were some other
great.
really great series though around that time. There's the Friday the 13th series that had
You know,
nothing to do with the movie Friday the 13th.
so it didn't
Um
have Jason Voorhees at all?
Not at
Because
all.
I never saw it.
It was about an oh my god, we have to watch that. It's also one of my favorite shows. No, it's about an antique store that sells haunted items.
Okay, that's right. And then
Yeah,
did you see the
they
Freddy
collect
one too?
and sell haunted items. So Freddy's Nightmares, I watched. I got to see a little bit of that, but that's a really hard series to find. I have
Hmm.
the Friday the 13th series. I've got all of that on DVD. I've got all of Tales from the Crypt on DVD. Most of Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Like these are all like really like. But then there's like Tales from the Dark Side, which I want to get. Twilight Zone, which I
Mm-hmm.
want to get. Like all this great anthology horror that. But you put it all up, like you stack it all up, and you put it up against the Tales from the Crypt, and that to me is still the one that stands supreme. But man, I would love to get my hands on a copy of Freddy's Nightmares. That would be
Oh
such a
wow.
huge, huge win. I bet Glenn knows where
Yeah.
to get one. He's like
Oh, no doubt.
fucking gray market. Like some guy in South Korea's got a bootleg version that he ripped off of a television set. Like Glenn's gonna find that guy on eBay and get it. But yeah, it's one of my favorite shows of all time, and I'm super happy we got to watch Bordello of Blood. I can't wait to cover Demon Knight. I don't think we'll cover Ritual because it's not super great. Um,
Yeah, I don't know
but
if I've seen it.
yeah, probably. I mean, I think I watched it one night because there was nothing else to watch, and I was like, eh. Um, but Bordello and Demon Knight are phenomenal, and they
They
represent the
are
show
really
very
good.
well.
Oh my gosh, it's so hot.
Um, yeah, it's warm in here. But D, I think that's about it. I think we've covered all we've covered. What was your total score?
82.5.
Yeah, that's great. Super high score. What a great movie. What a great time we've had. And
Yeah,
before we
definitely.
wrap up, D, let's get some announcements out of the way. Um,
Announcements.
yeah, we should be. I mean, listen, I have to have I have a thing on Monday that might put me
Oh,
in a
out.
very groggy state of mind. I have a bit of
Right.
a procedure to do that's gonna make me a little groggy. So I'm not 100% sure that Monster of the Week will be on Monday night. We've been down for a few weeks on that. Life's just been crazy, but it's all really good stuff. We took a little bit of a mental health break.
Mm-hmm.
But then Alex is working, which is awesome, doing some really great projects, and
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we've been doing some stuff on our end. So we hope that Monster of the Week will be back this Monday at 8. But if not, that's okay. We'll be back eventually. And then Wednesday nights we've got Denise here, who you're seeing on Blood and Popcorn playing Dead by Daylight. She just kicked off her
Wait.
second season.
Oh, I'm renewed. I'm renewed. Right. I
Yes,
forgot.
you are
I
renewed.
just
You will be
I
back
wasn't
for
sure.
season 2 this Wednesday
Woo!
night.
You heard it here first,
Congratulations.
folks.
Congratulations, Denise. You did it.
Thanks. Thank
And then
you.
Thursday nights, usually bonus rounds, sometimes Tuesdays, sometimes Thursdays. Mostly when I want is bonus round. Of course, you're watching
Mm-hmm.
Blood and Popcorn right now, Friday nights at 10 Eastern. And tomorrow night, Davis and I will be back, cursed as always, talking about this show's cursed, talking about D&D, RPGs, and all that
These
cool
poor
shit
dudes.
in between. Don't forget, subscribers, we got cool emotes out now, done by our friend Matt Olson at Flying Stylus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Tales from the Crypt. Thank you, Bordello of Blood.
Thank you,
Denise,
Robert Kassir, for voicing the Crypt Keeper.
oh, absolutely. And Denise, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Denise Pantoja. And you can find me on TikTok at the Demogorgon. Because yeah. Oh, also Wednesday nights. We've also been off for several different reasons, like natural disasters, um, health reasons, and stuff like that. From our Wednesday night D&D live play, Fractured Roll, which is phenomenal. So fingers crossed that nothing. It's been a weird month, I think, with a lot of things kind of popping up. But we should hopefully be back this Wednesday, and that is at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/fractured roll. And TJ,
What?
you are playing in a charity game, aren't you?
I sure am. I'm actually looking up what time.
Okay, I will talk about mine first.
Yes, talk
I'm
about
going to be
yours.
part of a game, a D&D game for Jasper's Game Day. And that is going to be on, I just closed it out. Why did you do that? What's wrong with you, Denise?
I don't know. I don't know
May
what happened.
5th. May 5th. And it's going to be Zombie Kills is our GM. And I'm playing with Enthusi Amy, Jody Hauser, and Goldberg 337, Lee Goldberg. I've never met Lee before. I know I have a lot of mutual friends with Jody Hauser, who is who pens comics, and of course Amy Dallin from Geek and Sundry. And I follow Zombie Kills, but I've never met them before, so I'm really excited to make new friends. It's very exciting. So we're going to be game one on May 5th. I'm not exactly sure what time that is. I think it's mid-afternoon Eastern time, but follow the socials and I'll get that time again.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the next day on May 6th at 3:30 Eastern, playing D&D, bringing my my human moon druid, the Druid, Joffrey
Nice.
Lebowski, coming in hot, the Druid. If
Oh
you follow me on
gosh.
socials, I think I'll be posting soon about the Druid, so you can see what he looks like. He's all designed up on on Hero Forge.
You're
But there, I
hilarious.
just dropped in chat some info on Jasper's Game Day if you want to get involved. It's a really great cause, and super proud that we get to represent Fracture Roll and Channel 29 in that game. Really,
100%. Yeah.
really
I'm
excited for
really
that.
honored to be a part of it. It's so exciting.
Yeah, we've got a
Um,
great game. We both got great games to play in with great players, great DMs. It's going to be a really exciting time.
yeah.
And that's it. That's our show, everybody. Denise, do you have any final words of wisdom for all the young vampires out there hoping to live a long and fruitful unlife?
Make sure to floss. Avoid garlic at all costs. Um, and uh, spend time with those you love while you can, because you'll live 100 years past them. So,
Yeah, that's
just
and
take
I think
that time
that's
seriously.
yeah, that's an important lesson for everybody. I think to
It's
enjoy
true.
the time we got here, folks, because until someone actually turns us into vampires, it's a short trip around the rock. So love
It's
everybody you
true.
meet, love them hard, squeeze them tight. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves, take care of one another. And we're gonna go raid my buddy Ninjala for some tasty Friday night beats. So stick
Ooh,
around,
tasty
hang tight.
beats.
Thanks for being here, 29ers. Much love. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for being here and spending your Friday night with you. We'll see you next time. Good night.